the world feels chaotic, and all the things whirling around in social media and everything just feels like chaos. So I get questions all the time of how the real estate market is. So today we're going to go through our June market trends. What's happening in the market? What's supply and demand look like? What's inflation doing? What's interest rates doing? We're going to cover all those things so that you can stay up to date. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Real Talk Real Estate. I'm your host, Mark Cannon, local realtor here in the Phoenix area with my home group real estate and owner of the Benchmark Real Estate team. So today we're talking through June market trends. Now, I used to do my market updates in the middle of the month, but now I've changed them. I'm doing it at the beginning of the month. So that way we can update you at the beginning of every month and keep you posted that way. Obviously, this is a podcast format, guys, so we're going to get right into it. So what is changing? We start at the same place every month. Where's inventory? Because, again, real estate's all about supply and demand. That's what it's about, supply and demand. And we've been hovering for a little bit. So right now we're just below 26,000 homes on the market. We were above 26,000, so we've come down a little bit. Not a bad thing. Again, normal, it's funny. I was having this conversation with somebody. They were talking about how, do we actually know what a normal market is? It's been so long since we've seen one. And I think that's fairly true. I think normal really here in Phoenix is probably 25,000 homes in the market, somewhere in that range, probably right in the middle somewhere. They had always said 25,000 was the mark for a long time. But if you really think about it, that was probably prior to 2005. That would have been the normal. So again, we don't really know because 2008, 2009 happened, and then we had a run up in real estate. So anyway, inventory has been holding around 26,000. So one of the things we've been watching is, okay, well, how high is this going to climb? Because as we gain more inventory, we're going to see prices continue to drop. And that's still happening right now. The market's still softening. It's still, prices are still slowly coming down. But there is some data showing that certain areas it's not. And so the big thing, I was trying to find a chart for it and I couldn't find one. I saw this going around social media where people were talking about, original list price compared to what the home actually sold for. And it's kind of deceiving because people see that, let's say the home originally started at, let's say 500,000 and it sold at 375. People are like, whoa, see, prices are coming down. That doesn't mean prices are coming down. And you're like, what are you talking about? Because there are a lot of people out there right now that list their homes too high, or the realtors put the wrong information in. So the first part of that is there are people that, they overvalue their house and a realtor says, yep, I'll take the listing and doesn't matter. We'll just try to do price reductions, catch the market. It's a really bad strategy. Don't do that. But it's one of those that we see that a lot right now where people overvalue their houses. The other information too is where realtors put the wrong information in and they change it later. So the information can be skewed, but we are seeing people overvalue their houses a lot and then they're chasing the market. But when you actually look at like closed sales prices in certain cities, the median is either rising a little bit or barely coming down some. So it's not like prices are dropping through the roof. We would need more inventory to come on for prices to continue to drop. So that's something I think that's probably going to happen as we get in the summer, is we're going to see inventory keep creeping up and we're going to see interest rates stay where they are. So interest rates right now with a conventional loan, they're just a tad under 7%. We've been hovering around here for a while. And you can see that on the chart. And then with FHA, we're sitting around 6.5. So interest rates are staying steady. And to be honest, I don't know if they're coming down anytime soon. Inflation's been coming down, so that's a good thing. Like I was just looking at inflation. I think we're down to 2.3% in about 2 weeks. We'll get more information, see where it is after that. But it is trending downward, which is a good thing because the Fed has been holding rates steady. They haven't really been lowering them or anything like that. So that's helping curb inflation. That's a good thing. But when we're looking at all this stuff I know there feels like so much chaos with tariffs and everything else that's being talked out there. And I get it. I totally do. And I think that it'll come to fruition in time where things will get ironed out and chaos will settle down. But because of the chaos, there's a lot of uncertainty. You still have the people out there talking about the market's going to crash. Here it comes, all this stuff. I'll just show you this chart. It's a foreclosure chart. So if you look at the foreclosure chart, you can see 2008, 2009. That was the big foreclosures, 2010, right in that range. What we have right now is, so minuscule compared to what was back then. We're not having the same rates of foreclosures and stuff. Now it's risen some, but not anywhere to levels that we are overly concerned right now. Now that could change. It could always change. Again, government could get involved and screw stuff up. But the way we're looking at it right now, and I'm going to show you the Cromford report right now. So the Cromford report is what I use. It's data that's in the valley, and I'm trying to show you, okay, here's what they're showing from the trends. Now, I think they're usually a couple weeks behind in their data. To me, like Fountain Hills, Chandler, Avondale, they're in balanced markets at this point. Maybe not Fountain Hills because they're going up a little bit right now, but to me, it's one of those that most all markets are either in a balanced market or in a buyer's market. Remember, a balanced market's in their index is between 90 to 110. That's a balanced market. Anything below 90 is a buyer's market. Above 110 is a seller's market. I don't think there's any seller's markets here in Phoenix. But I do think there's some balanced markets, and there's a lot of buyer's markets. To me, anything like Gilbert and below is probably a buyer's market. And especially the ones at the bottom, Queen Creek, Buckeye, Maricopa, Surprise, heavy buyer's markets to where you can negotiate a lot. That's why I tell people, like, in buyer's markets, you want to buy. So if you can, it's not about pushing yourself to the max and overdoing it. Like, you don't want to be house poor, so don't do that. But if you can buy, it's not a bad time to buy. But the index shows us that the markets are trending down. They're trending negatively, where to me, I think we're going to get through the summer and prices are going to just continue to come down. And I do think in certain areas they are because of the supply and demand index. So I'll just show you Maricopa County, and I'll show you supply. So if you look at supply, we have really high inventory. Really high inventory. If you look at the chart at the bottom, you can see that it's from 2017 to now, and we're about where we were in 2017, maybe a little bit higher than we were as far as how many listings we have. So it's like, okay, we're not having crazy amount of listings. So what does that mean? That means demand is really low. So if you look at this demand chart, it's pretty low, and it's like, okay, we're not having the sales we used to. So if you look at that chart at the bottom there, 2017, it's up around 7,000 transactions is what it's showing, and listings, and now we're down near, I guess that's like just under 5,000. So demand is just lower. And so when you have demand low and our supply is about what it normally is, maybe a little higher, and with it being a little higher, but we have no demand, prices eventually are going to start coming down. And again, people think they're going to come down 100, 200K. I don't see that, unless something else drastic happens in the economy. And I'm releasing a video about that, I think, later this month on what would need to happen if a crash was to happen. So that'll be coming out, I think, in a week or two. But it's one of those that for us right now, we're seeing everything slow down. You can negotiate a good amount. And I tell people, like, especially buyers, like, be patient. Like, find the right house. Don't get sold on one house if they're not going to give you the right deal, because too many times buyers get emotional about it, and they're like, no, I have to have this house, and they take a bad deal. Take a good deal. Look for a good deal. Now, I'm not saying you're going in offering 100K under on everybody. I'm not saying that. Because every market's different, every area is different. So that's something that we would have to talk through. But you can get some good deals out there right now. You can get people to pay certain things that where it's like, hey, this is a benefit to me. So if you're thinking about any of that stuff, where you're thinking about selling, you're thinking about buying, especially if you're thinking about selling, we need to have a conversation about strategies, because there's a lot of bad strategies out there right now. I did a video on that. You can go check some of that out. But if you're thinking about buying or selling, or you know someone that is, I would love to talk with you or talk with them to talk through what's best for you. So again, I work real estate through relationships. It's about what is best for you. My fiduciary duty is to you and to make sure that you're taken care of. I'm not just about a sale. I'm here to help you and make sure it's the right decision for you. So if you're thinking about that stuff, reach out to me. My information's below. I'm here to help. I'd love to grab coffee, just sit down and hear your story and just hear where I can help and what advice I'm able to help give to you. So I hope you'll reach out. Guys, you've been listening to Real Talk Real Estate. I'll catch you next time.